Hi everybody. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good. Okay, so my story begins, like most stories do, with a 1990s Nickelodeon cartoon. But I can't...
Right arrow.
Right arrow. Got it. Okay, so the title of my presentation is On Becoming Eliza Thornberry. And so that you can understand why I call it that, Eliza Thornberry is this girl right here. And it's a show called The Wild Thornberries. It came out in the 1990s. Some of you might know it. It was my favorite show when I was a kid. And Reader's Digest version, she's a girl. She travels with her parents around the world because they run a nature show. And through the magic of shamans or something, she gets the ability to talk to animals. So the whole show is different countries. Every episode is a different country, and she talks to animals and whatever. So when I was a cute little kid, I watched that show all the time, and from that point on, it instilled this sense of adventure in me. And ironically enough, the first episode of The Wild Thornberries and also the movie took place in Tanzania. So it kind of planted the seed in my cute little head to get me to want to go there. And just a little brief thing about me, I was homeschooled until 4th grade. My mom was the only teacher I knew during that time. I didn't have a lot of friends, and we didn't really travel much, except we went camping sometimes, and we did go to Michigan once as a family. Then I went to Catholic school in 4th grade. I went to Catholic school through senior year of high school. And during that time, I still didn't really go anywhere. I was kind of an introvert. I had like a few friends, but I wasn't super popular. I was pretty awkward during that time. And then came the time when I started looking for colleges. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And one day my dad was like, "Oh yeah, I went to Knox College, and it's like a top 100 college in the United States." And my mom and I were like, "Excuse me?" So I visited there, and I found out about the study abroad programs that you could do. And I was sold, especially when I saw that there was actually a program where you could go to Tanzania. And that like blew my mind, because I'd always wanted to go to Africa, but I never really thought it was possible. And then suddenly it was incredibly possible. So then, long story short, application processes, except I only applied to Knox because it was where I needed to be, and if I wasn't going to go there, I wasn't going to go anywhere. So I spent my first 2 years of college preparing not for graduation, but for study abroad, which I think might have been a little bit atypical, but it was what I needed to do in college, and if I didn't, it was going to be not the experience that I wanted to have. And that's actually how I discovered my major, because I had to take a ton of anthropology courses to prepare for the Tanzania program, and then I didn't even know what anthropology was until I got to college, and I loved it, and now I'm an anthropology sociology major, so that was convenient. And at this point, I just want to make a note of the importance that up until this point in my life, I had literally gone nowhere. And my mom always likes to joke about the fact that I went my whole life not going anywhere, and now all of a sudden, I'm going to go to Africa for my first trip away from home by myself, which may be jumping in with 2 feet, but that's how I do things. And actually, my year started in Alaska. I did a program with Knox where you take a class spring term, and then we went to Alaska for a month. It was a 110-mile kayaking trip in the wilderness. Never kayaked before. They said that was fine. It was fine. But that was really great, and it really helped prepare me to travel further abroad, because that was the first time I ever went anywhere by myself. And so then I went to Tanzania. I had about 2 weeks home after Alaska before I could go there. I was terrified. I was so scared. And I was at a point before I left where I was like, if they call me tomorrow and they say the trip is canceled, that's totally fine. And to pick a single salient moment from Tanzania is impossible, because there were so many moments that stick in my mind. I remember the night we arrived, it was the middle of the night, and I was so overwhelmed because first time flying anywhere really, and I didn't know where I was, and it was the middle of the night, and we drove through a really crazy crowded market, and I was like, where am I even? And we got to the dorm because we started living in dorms. Dorms were fun. They ran out of water for multiple days, frequently, and there were little lizards that climbed on the walls. That was pretty cool. I decided to collectively name all of them Fernando. That was my choice. Learning the language was really interesting because it was unlike anything I'd ever been familiar with ever. I'd only taken Spanish in the past, and it was so unfamiliar, but learning it was very interesting. Going through the markets was really, buttons. Going through the markets was crazy. They were also unlike anything ever because people were stopping you and yelling at you and shoving things in your face and calling you, we got called Wazungu a lot, which is literally translated into one who walks in circles, I think, but that's what they call foreigners usually because they look like they're just walking in circles. The safaris are probably my favorite part, which is where all these animal pictures are from. Actually, fun side note, that's my childhood stuffed animal that I took with me. She wanted to go on safari. She had a great time. The safaris were out of this world. The research portion was out of this world. I got to study elephants, which was funny because all my academic advisors warned me beforehand that I should pick a different topic because you're not going to be able to do that. But I did. And then during the week break, I volunteered at a school that's actually co-run by a woman who used to go to Knox College. And she's friends with my dad, which was a really weird connection that I don't really understand how that happened. So that was another great opportunity. It was a really hard trip, which, I mean, I always say this when I talk to people about it, I don't want to deter people from going, but it's not easy. Because it's scary and it's a totally different, it's not Europe. And I don't know, but it was incredible, and I met great people, and I discovered things about myself, and oh my god, are you serious? Okay, I'm going to skip ahead. And then I did another ACM program, actually. I did the Florence and London program. I did the 18-week one, which, that was great. That was kind of like a vacation after Tanzania, almost, actually, because Tanzania was really hard and really, really kind of good for strengthening me as a person, but this was great for art and theater, and I'm really sorry that I have to go really fast now, but whatever. And so that's London, Florence, art, theater, wonderful, greatness. And then I want to close with 2 tattoos that I got after I came home. This first one is on my arm right here. I got that after I came home from Tanzania. It's a rough translation of the phrase, imagine what you'll know tomorrow, which was kind of a phrase that carried me through that whole time, because you know things day to day, and what you know tomorrow is maybe going to be totally different from what you know right now. And I think that's kind of a great way to go about your life. And then I got this one last December, after the whole year, which is a quote from a book. I'm not saying that everything is survivable, just that everything except the last thing is. Because my whole year was so hard and challenging and scary in so many ways. But no matter how difficult or impossible or gut-wrenchingly difficult something is, it is survivable and you can learn from it. And that's my year.